Imagine sleeping peacefully in your warm bed, only to wake up in the middle of nowhere. No walls, no ceiling, no familiar scent of home. Just the sharp cry of distant birds, the rush of a wild river beside you, and towering trees stretching endlessly into a pale morning sky. You try to move and you can't. Your legs are tied. The rope bites into your skin. Your head throbs. Your mouth tastes bitter. For a moment, you think you're still dreaming, until a cold breeze slices through you and the truth settles in. Someone brought you here, and they meant for you to die. That was how Tari's new life began. Just weeks earlier, Tari had been the golden boy of Ezi Ama village, 17, quiet, respectful, and the only son of Chief Obina, a wealthy cocoa merchant who traded as far as Lagos, and his graceful wife Adaku, known for her kindness and sharp wisdom. Then death suddenly came knocking. First his father, sudden, mysterious, no illness and no warning. The village mourned. Months later, his mother followed, found lifeless in her room before sunrise. No signs of struggle and no explanation. The whispers began, but whispers never bring justice. At 17, Tari inherited everything: acres of fertile land, palm plantations, warehouses, livestock, and the largest compound in the village. Wealth beyond what most elders accumulated in a lifetime. And that was when Uncle Felix arrived. Felix, his father's younger brother, came dressed in grief and loud promises. "Oh, my brother's son is my son," he declared before the clan elders. "I will guide him." Beside him stood his wife Amara, young, flashy, always dressed like she belonged in a city far away from red dust and village gossip. The women called her Gen Z Madame because she filmed everything on her phone: market days, ceremonies, even funerals. She loved attention, she loved luxury, and she loved money. At first, they played their roles perfectly. Felix handled estate documents, Amara supervised meals and household stuff. They smiled at Tari, patted his shoulder, spoke softly, but at night, when lanterns dimmed and crickets took over, their whispers sharpened. "If he lives," Amara said one evening, staring at the estate ledger, "we will always be under him." Felix shifted uneasily. "He is just a boy." "He is a boy with everything." Greed does not shout, it grows quietly. The plan formed slowly. One evening, Amara cooked Tari's favorite meal: coconut rice, rich with spices, smoked fish layered perfectly, pepper sauce just the way he liked it. She served him herself, smiling sweetly. "You have been stressed," she said. "Eat well." He did. An hour later, his vision blurred. The wall seemed to bend. His limbs grew heavy. He tried to stand, but the floor tilted beneath him. Darkness swallowed him whole. They worked quickly. Felix tied his legs tightly with coarse rope, binding his ankles so hard that fibers dug into his flesh. They wrapped him in a bedsheet, carried him into the back of their car, and drove far beyond the village boundaries, past abandoned farmland, past the old shrine near Aruchuku, deep into a forbidden forest where hunters rarely ventured and travelers never lingered. They dumped him beside a roaring river. "If animals don't finish him," Amara muttered, brushing dirt from her clothes, "the forest will." And they drove away. Morning came with mist and birdsong. Footsteps moved through the trees, steady, alert, and practiced. Her name was Nkem, the huntress of Oban Forest. She lived alone in a wooden hut, woven between ancient trees. Some villagers said she was strange, others said she was dangerous. All agreed she was not to be underestimated. She saw him immediately. A boy bound, barely breathing. She knelt, examining the rope bands, the swelling and the feverish skin. "You were meant to die here," she murmured softly. She cut the rope. The damage was severe. The tight binding had torn skin and restricted blood flow. His legs were inflamed, bruised, deep purple, marked with cruel indentations. Without hesitation, she lifted him. Yes, lifted him. Carried him through the forest into her heart. For days, Tari drifted between consciousness and darkness. Fever gripped him. Infection threatened to spread. Nkem crushed medicinal leaves passed down from her grandmother, brewed bitter herbal drinks, cleaned his wounds with river water and antiseptic sap. She barely slept. On the fourth day, his eyes opened fully. He stared at the wooden ceiling, at the flicker of firelight, at the woman seated nearby sharpening an arrow. "You are safe," she said calmly. He tried to speak. His voice cracked. Weeks passed. He learned to stand again, slowly, painfully, and as strength returned to his legs, he told her everything. His parents' sudden death, the inheritance, the unusual sweetness of that final meal. Waking up tied beside a river, Nkem listened without interruption. When he finished, she stood. "They did not just try to kill you," she said. "They tried to erase you." One market morning, Tari limped back into Eziama village. Beside him walked Nkem. Conversations died mid-sentence. Women dropped baskets of tomatoes. Children screamed. Men stared as if they had seen a ghost, because they thought they had buried him without digging a grave. Uncle Felix froze where he stood. Amara's face drained of color. The great gong was struck. The elders gathered beneath the ancient Udala tree. Tari stood before them and spoke clearly. Every detail, every memory. Then Nkem stepped forward and placed the rope carefully preserved at their feet. Silence spread. A young herdsman, Chidi, stepped forward trembling. "I saw Uncle Felix's car that night," he confessed, driving towards the deep forest. Mamas erupted. Then Mama Ejoma, the household cook, raised her hand shakily. "I saw Madame Amara crushing something into his food." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Amara began shouting. Felix denied everything. Then Elder Okonko, the oldest man in 3 neighboring communities, rose slowly. "There is more," he said. He revealed that Chief Obina had left a sealed letter with the elders before his death, a letter to be opened if harm ever befell his son. The letter was brought out, opened, read aloud. It named Felix. It warned of greed. It transferred temporary control of Tari's estate to the council should any attempt be made on his life. Felix collapsed to his knees. Amara screamed that it was all lies, but lies unravel under sunlight. The verdict was swift. Felix and Amara were stripped of all claims and publicly disgraced, and imprisoned pending transfer to authorities in Umuahia. Their names were erased from family records. Tari's inheritance was restored completely. The village watched as justice settled like rain after a storm. Days later, Tari returned to the forest, not as a victim, but as a survivor. He brought gifts, gratitude, respect. He asked Nkem to leave the forest and live in the village. She smiled faintly. "I belong where the trees speak," she said, but she promised to visit. And slowly, the boy they tried to bury rebuilt his life, stronger, wiser, and sharper. Because sometimes when people leave you for dead, the forest does not kill you, it chooses you. And somewhere beyond iron bars, Uncle Felix finally understood something that would haunt him forever. They should have made sure he was dead, but fate had other plans.